Ever wonder how programmers take this massive, chaotic jumble of code and somehow turn it into the clean, slick apps we use every day? Well, the answer comes down to one of the most powerful ideas in all of software, the object. And to really get it, we don't need to start with code at all, we just need to start with something way more familiar.
So let's start right here. Just take a look at this room for a second. Looks like maybe a hotel lobby or something. What do you see? Before you even have to think about it, your brain is already identifying things, right?
So what'd you see? If you're like pretty much everyone, your brain instantly went chairs, couch, table. It's totally automatic, but let me ask you a kind of weird question. Is that what's actually there?
Because if you break it all the way down, what's really in that room is just stuff, a collection of raw materials. You've got some green fabric, a bunch of wood, some red fabric, another piece of wood, a metal bar. It's just a messy, chaotic list of parts, not these neat, tidy ideas.
And really, this is true for our entire world. On a fundamental level, it's all just stuff, a jumble of materials. So how on earth do we make any sense of it?
Well, to handle all this stuff, our brains do something absolutely incredible. They pull off this little magic trick thousands of times a day. They group all those raw materials into higher-level ideas we call objects. We literally create order from chaos.
And here's basically how it works. First, our brain groups related materials together, okay? Green fabric plus wood, got it. Then it slaps a label on that group, defining it as a chair. But, and this is the crucial part, our brains then associate actions with it. A chair isn't just a pile of wood and fabric, it's something you can sit on. We do the exact same thing for the couch. We see the red fabric and wood, we bundle them together in our minds, and we call it a couch. And what are its actions? Well, you can sit on it, sure, but you can also lie down on it. The object is defined by what it's made of and what you can do with it.
And this leads to a really fascinating insight. We almost never think about the materials, the wood, the fabric. We think about the actions. You don't walk into a room thinking, I need a composite of wood and fabric. You think, I need a place to sit. The operation is what really matters to us.
Okay, so let's finally bring this all back to programming. Because just like the physical world, a computer program, when you get right down to it, is also just a big pile of stuff.
But a programmer's raw materials aren't wood and fabric. They're variables, which are just little pieces of data, like a name or a phone number, and methods, which are the actions the program can take. And without any structure, all this code is just a chaotic digital jumble.
And so, to manage all this complexity, programmers use the exact same mental trick our brains use in the real world. They create objects to bring order to the chaos of their code.
So how does a programmer look at that messy, endless list of data and functions and turn it into something that actually works, something that we can understand?
They build a perfect parallel. What we call materials in the real world, a programmer just calls data or variables. And what we call actions, a programmer calls operations or methods. It's the exact same brilliant idea, just applied to the digital world.
And that brings us to the big definition. In programming, an object is simply a neat little package that groups together related data and all the operations you can perform on that data. It's the ultimate container for taming complexity in code.
I know, this might still sound a little abstract, so let's make it super concrete. We're going to take that messy pile of code we talked about and see how objects bring it to life.
Remember that chaotic jumble of data from before? We had names, phone numbers, reviews, different types of cuisines, just all mixed up together. Let's use our new way of thinking to organize it.
And bam! Look at that. Instant clarity. We can create a restaurant object. We bundle together everything a restaurant needs. Its data, like name and cuisine, and its actions, like the ability to add a review, all into one tidy package. So now, instead of hunting through chaos, a programmer can just say, hey, restaurant object, print your details. It's clean, it's intuitive, it's self-contained.
And then we do the exact same thing for a hotel. We package its unique data, like its amenities, with its own set of actions. By separating these ideas, the code becomes incredibly easy to manage. Each object is like a logical, independent little building block. You can build one, test it, and then reuse it 1,000 times without ever worrying about breaking something else.
And that, right there, is the magic of objects. They are probably the single most important tool programmers have for fighting back against complexity. They take a chaotic, endless list of digital stuff and they transform it into clear, reusable, and understandable concepts. This is how you build software that can grow from a tiny app into a global system.
So the next time you're using an app, just remember you're not just looking at code. You're exploring a world built from these powerful ideas. User objects, message objects, maybe product objects. They are the fundamental building blocks of our entire digital lives. Which kind of raises one last interesting question. If you could group any data and actions together to build your own digital world, what would you create?